everyone, and welcome to Scan. My name is Tracy Wolfman. I am your host of Welcome to Scan. I am the administrator and owner of We Care Adult Care, and I am the current president of Scan New Jersey. Welcome to the show today, and I am very excited to have on as my guest Dr. Gary W. Small, from behavioral health physician in chief for Hackensack Meridian Health and chair of psychiatry at Hackensack University Medical Center. Lots of H's in there. Welcome, Dr. Small.
Thank you, Tracy. It's great to be here.
Dr. Small is known nationally and internationally for his public work in promoting the practice of psychiatry and innovative research on the brain health and aging. Small has authored more than 500 scientific publications, including the international bestseller, The Memory Bible. Small's research has been featured in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the London Times, the Washington Post, Time Magazine, and Newsweek. As he has served as frequent expert on television, including appearances on NBC, The Today Show, CNN, and PBS. We are delighted to have you to share your wealth of knowledge with us today, Dr. Small, and our viewers that typically are from Monmouth and Ocean County, and you're in a local Hackensack University organization, so I'm sure people will be reaching out to you.
Wonderful.
So it's great to have you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your clinical specialty and the psychiatry of aging, because I think no matter what age you are today, we're all worried about this, correct?
Yeah, well, look, aging starts very early in life. And
when you're born.
To think of it, that's right. And we tend to think of it in the later times, but it is a process and it's very gradual. And it has a lot of negative connotations. I mean, people don't like the fact that they're aging. I spent most of my life and my career in Southern California, and trust me, they don't like to think of being old. I ran a center.
They don't age.
I was at UCLA and I ran the UCLA Center on Aging. We had to change the name to the Longevity Center because no one really wanted to be affiliated with it. So there's a lot of negativity toward aging. And in fact, there's a term that was coined about that. It's called ageism, prejudice against old age. And we see that a lot, but I think it's changing to some degree because our society is aging. I mean, in a way, we've been quite successful thanks to advances in medical technology that today people are living longer and better than any time in history. But the rub is that, our bodies and our brains weren't really engineered to live that long. So we were seeing a huge epidemic of dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and cognitive decline in late life. And that's been the big focus of my career, trying to understand that, study it, and help people who suffer from it.
And I think more so of embracing this aging process. I mean, there is a statement, and I know it's so well known, but I say celebrate life no matter what age, because some are denied the privilege, right?
Well, it's true. It's better than the alternative to age, to live a long life. And there are some good things about aging and an aging brain. For example, as you age, you have less anxiety. You have a sense, well, I've been there and done that. So you've solved problems. You realize this too will pass. Young people, for example, we think about this horrible pandemic. I think it was hard on all age groups, but especially young people. I think it was, their prime of their life. They felt they missed out.
And they missed out.
Yeah. So I think, that's one good thing. Another thing is, we are able to problem solve better. We get a better perspective on things. But the challenge we have is our memory doesn't work as well. And we start seeing that by age 45, the average person, their objective memory performance is worse than it was 20 years earlier.
And I think, the greatest fear that everyone has, does the forgetfulness mean that we're going to suffer from Alzheimer's disease or similar, memory impairment? And I think people have to realize that that's not necessarily the case. And maybe you can embellish on that a little more.
Well, I think that we're all I know that we all experience these middle-age pauses or late life slips, mental slips, senior moments, whatever you want to call them. And usually they don't disrupt your life. You forget where you put your keys, or you see someone on the street out of context and you just can't recall their name right away. And so that tends to be relatively stable. It increases with time. And we're not so concerned about that. But for many people, it does get worse. And age is the greatest single risk factor for these kinds of memory and other cognitive issues to begin to interfere with independence. So there's a horrible term that we all know, dementia. It sounds terrible. And they tried to come up with other words, but a lot of people still use it. And basically what it means is that your mental issues, your cognitive problems, your forgetfulness is extreme enough so that it interferes with your independence. You need help from others. And of course, the most common cause of that is the disease that everybody dreads, and that's Alzheimer's disease.
Correct.
And that's something that I've been studying and trying to understand and develop treatments for my entire career.
And it's interesting how, when you were talking previously about, the likelihood of people living to 100 is very real today, where it wasn't years ago.
Yes.
So they protect the brain, and people like you studying it to prevent that disease process from occurring or slowing it down, correct?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize, look, for Alzheimer's dementia, so Alzheimer's disease, to the extent that it interferes with your independence, there have been medicines around for decades that help with the symptoms. So, you can, and it's temporary, it's not a cure, but it does keep people at a higher level of functioning longer. And even with that, there's more that people can do. And that's been a big focus of my research and the programs I've developed and the books I've written. You mentioned the Memory Bible. It was really about that people have more control over their brain health and their mental acuity than they realize. It's not all genetics. For the average person, genetics, what you inherit from your parents, may not be as important of the kind of lifestyle that you live.
And how to maintain that and improve that. So we're going to get back to this a little bit later when we talk about one of your books, but no discussion on psychiatry can escape the COVID-19, right? So can you talk a little bit about the COVID-19 and the effects it's had, good and bad, on people as part of your talk today?
Yeah. So let's start with the bad, which everybody realizes. And one of the, of course, there's the fear of the unknown, fear of getting sick, losses. Many people close to all of us have passed away or gotten very sick.
Right.
So there's that concern and that anxiety. The social isolation is not good for our mind health. For people of all ages, especially older people who are already having cognitive issues. If you become socially isolated, it makes it worse. Loners do not age well. And also, particularly for young people who are just so driven by their social connectedness. So that has been a real problem. We know that rates of depression, anxiety, PTSD, you name it, addiction problems, it's all gone up as a result of these problems. So it's been a real, it's kind of a pandemic within a pandemic, a mental health crisis that we've seen, and we've been struggling. Hackensack, huge enterprise, and it's been hard for us and hard for all health systems to grapple with all the mental health needs of our population. But there are some upsides.
We like that.
Yes, I like to end on the positive. People who have gotten through this, they develop resilience, they develop grit, and they come to the other side stronger as a result of it. So I think we have seen this in many people who have done extraordinary things during this pandemic and survived it, and they feel better as a result of it. They've worked out ways to remain socially connected. I'll give you an example from my own life. We used to play cards with my wife and I, with another couple. We play hearts regular basis. We figured out a way where we could use video conferencing to have the social aspect and use our cell phones. There's a program where you could have your cards in your hand, in your cell phone. And in fact, when the pandemic, right? When we got through it and we could get together again, we sort of preferred playing with our cell phones. It's just, so you find workarounds, and I think it makes you feel stronger as a result.
Right. So it's interesting that some people prefer now this virtual interaction with people and don't want to go back, because at SCAN, we hold classes for our members, and there's a large portion that want to continue online.
Well, this has also been a boon for mental health services. This started when I was back at UCLA, and it's continued since I came to New Jersey. But we find that we very quickly transitioned to telepsychiatry model. And a lot of people preferred it. They don't have to deal with the traffic. It's very accessible. For some medical specialties, it's not so easy, particularly surgical specialties and some others. But, and certainly there's no substitute for meeting people face to face. I mean, there's no question. But I'm grateful that we have this technology, that this crisis has catapulted that technology into mainstream
everyday living.
Yes. And I predict that we're going to have kind of a hybrid model moving forward. So hopefully we'll have less traffic. People will be able to work from home a few days per week. And so we'll be more efficient in how we conduct our personal and our professional lives. I
think, I always revert back to the 55 plus, I'm not going to say older community, but how quickly and rapidly they adjusted and figured out how to do this Zooming and this telehealth and all of this. I mean, it was pretty impressive to me.
That's how our brains work. If we have a practical challenge or problem, we figure out a way to solve it. We're motivated to deal with it. And I think that's what's happened. And, it is true that if you look at age and you look at technology, older age leads to later adoption of new technologies.
Right.
And, whether it's using computers, email, and so forth. But if there's a will, there's a way, and people of all ages can benefit from this.
And they certainly did. I just want to move on to what your thoughts are about the graying America upon our clinical systems of care and how that's going to work for access. I mean, you just told us a little bit about, people using the telehealth, and you're hoping that that continues. But is there anything else that you'd like to share about that?
Well, we have a clear grain of our society. I mean, the number of older people who are around is much greater than ever before, and it's a problem. It's not only a problem in terms of access to care, but it's a problem in terms of caregiving. We have millions of people. By age 65 or older, risk for dementia, as I defined it earlier, is about 10%. By 85 or older, it could be as high as 40%. And the caregiving is provided by informal caregivers, family members, adult children, spouses, and it's a heavy lift.
It's a heavy lift. We're going to have to take a quick commercial break here, Dr. Small. So much information. I want our viewers to absorb what we spoke about so far, and we're going to come back and talk about some more great stuff here with Dr. Small at Welcome to SCAN. We'll be right back.
Take it from me, living with diabetes is no easy task, but I learned how to manage my health condition, and so can you. The Diabetes Self-Management Program is a 6-week self-management workshop created by Stanford University. The program provides you with proven strategies to manage your diabetes and reclaim your life. You will join an interactive and mutually supportive workshop whose success builds confidence to effectively manage your diabetes and allows you to maintain an active lifestyle. See how proper nutrition, exercise, and medication management help you increase your energy, manage side effects, and keep you feeling in control. You will not only receive a copy of this book, but you will get guidance and support from others like you living with diabetes.
The Diabetes Self-Management Workshop meets once a week for 6 weeks. This innovative workshop is offered to all Monmouth County residents. Call the number on your screen to register or get additional information at scannj.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Welcome to Scan. I am here with Dr. Small from Hackensack University Medical Center. It's those HHHs. And we are talking about our healthy brain and psychiatry and how we can improve our brain health per se. So Dr. Small is going to talk to us a little bit about how to prevent the failing brain and how to improve the failing brain in my terms. He can expand on that.
Thank you, Tracy. There's compelling scientific evidence that how we behave every day, the choices we make, have a big impact on how long and how well we age. And a big part of that is protecting our brain health and our memory. So number one is physical exercise. We know that if you can, you don't have to become a triathlete, but just brisk walking for 20 minutes a day will lower your risk for Alzheimer's disease. Strength training is important at every age. Diet, tremendously important. The Mediterranean style diet is known to be associated with better brain health. We can't eliminate stress completely from our lives, but we can adjust to it better. We can meditate, we can learn relaxation exercises, and plenty of research shows that not only does it improve one's mood, but it actually benefits cognitive health. Finally, what I talk about in our books is how to compensate for age-related memory decline. There's some very simple strategies that help you learn and remember all kinds of things that are useful in everyday life to improve your memory almost immediately. So those middle-age pauses, those forgetful moments, the tip of the tongue phenomena, they don't have to bother you as much.
It's interesting that you're saying they don't have to bother you as much, because I'm sure, everyone's had a conversation with somebody and they're saying, I had a senior moment, right? And they really start to fret about it. They start to have increased anxiety because there's so much exposure about memory impairment now. So I like that whole statement. And I guess if we can impress upon our viewers right now, don't stress about it so much, right?
Well, yeah, if you worry about your memory, I can tell you your memory will be worse. So we know that. So
Right.
It's, trying to lower the stress levels is very important, getting a good night's sleep, staying socially connected. And these strategies that I've developed over the years that others have worked on, it's not only great for an aging brain, it's great for mental health for people of all ages. So for example, we know that physical exercise helps mood. If you're depressed, if you can get out there and exercise, be with other people, your mood will be improved. So it's really an important strategy that we can use for anyone who's suffering from depression, anxiety, whatever it may be.
And as simple as walking, that has been something that, we try to impress upon everyone. It doesn't have to be, you're going to the gym and working out, for 10 hours, lifting 100 pounds a day. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, physical exercise as much as brisk walking. What about people that they're having all the stress caring for an older family member, not only with respect to difficult medical decisions, but trying to cope with their own stress and personal self-care? Do you have any advice for them with this?
Well, I think it's important to not go it alone. A lot of people, there's kind of a strategy, there's a sense that I got to do it all myself. That's very stressful. And being able to ask for help is critically important. And, people say if you don't ask, they can't say no, but they also can't say yes if you don't ask. So I think it's important to reach out to people you trust. And also it feels good if that person is a giving, caring individual, it's good for them to be able to help others. So I think that's important. I think learning simple methods like meditation, or if you find meditation is not good, try Tai Chi. There's lots of different strategies that are important. Also to recognize if you have a mental health problem that really needs professional intervention. So if you find that your anxiety, your mood problems, whatever it may be, is really interfering with your everyday life, talk to your doctor, get a referral. Hackensack Meridian Health, we're the largest, most integrated health system in New Jersey. So we have practitioners in the north, south, and central regions who are specialists in all areas, ranging from depression to dementia to addictive problems, addiction medicine, and so forth. So there is help available.
And if your, your specialty is one area of expertise, but if you feel that somebody needs another area, you have the resources at Hackensack Meridian to refer them to those that specialize in what their needs may be.
Yeah, we have specialists who focus on lots of different sorts of problems, and we can refer within the network. And if there's something not within the network, we'll try to help people find resources for them.
So that's just one last thing on here before we move on to next that I want to express to our viewers out there is that, you don't have to have a crisis to seek out some mental health expertise, because if you're having those issues with overwhelming stress, if you're having some forgetfulness, it might be a good idea to come and talk to somebody in Hackensack Meridian's mental health department that can ease them through this.
Well, actually, the best time to deal with these problems is when you're not in a crisis. When you're in a crisis, it's very difficult to solve the problems. You're so excited, you can't think straight. And that's an important principle, is that if you are too anxious and overwhelmed, try to get calm, take a deep breath, get some perspective, and then see if you can understand what's going on better.
So hopefully our viewers got all that message, but I really want to talk about our last topic here. And as the author of the Memory Bible, can you give a few tips that anyone can use and maybe how they can access your book? Because you told me you just revised it, so I'm sure it's the latest and the greatest. And I think a lot of people would be interested, because the Memory Bible is not a negative where having dementia, it's more of a positive title. And I really like that.
Yeah, it's really what you can do to live better and longer with a healthy brain. And it really has a lot of information that's very practical. It's been a New York Times and international bestseller. So it really, it's easy to access for almost anyone. And here's a tip. Something we came up with, and I say we because my co-author is my wife, Gigi Forgan.
Oh.
She makes me sound good. I appreciate that. But she came up with this mnemonic that is a very simple way to immediately improve your memory. We call it Look, Snap, Connect. So look is a reminder to focus attention. The biggest reason people don't remember is they're simply distracted. Snap is a reminder to create a mental snapshot of what you want to recall later. And that leverages the brain's natural tendency to remember visually. And connect is a way of linking up those mental snapshots so they have meaning. If you can make something meaningful, it will become memorable.
How come we didn't have your wife on this with us? You're expressing you're giving away her information. So at least we have part of her there.
Well, it's a true collaboration. So
next time we want both of you.
Thank you. We'll do that.
So that Memory Bible so any more advice that you'd like to give our viewers out there?
Well, I think you asked how you can get the Memory Bible, and you can just search for it online. You can go to drgarysmall.com, drgarysmall.com, our website, or you can, just go to the usual booksellers, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, will be listed there. So, just the final message for everyone out there, whether you're struggling with depression, anxiety, forgetfulness, you do have more control than you realize. That there's a lot you can do yourself to make you feel better in terms of your everyday lifestyle. Is it healthy? And there's help out there. We have mental health professionals who are trained here in New Jersey, across the country, throughout the world. And we've learned a lot over the years on how to help people who are really suffering. So we're here to help.
And now we have telehealth and other means for people, so it's not a problem of an obstacle of getting somewhere.
You know, and I also, you know, there's a lot of stigma about mental illness. And, you know, it's so common. It affects so many lives. There's nothing to fear. And it's really, the sooner you get help, the sooner you're going to start feeling better.
Connection lost. Press button to temporarily silence.
I think if they change the title of mental health, someday they might do that to help people transition into that. So our main key points with everything, we're going to physical exercise, strength training, diet, decrease your stress, get better sleep. Well, it's been such a pleasure to have you on our show today, Dr. Small. And I think we've gotten a lot out of this, and I hope our viewers will take it all in, look up your memory Bible, and utilize it to the best of their ability. So until next time, I want to thank all the viewers for tuning in to Welcome to Scan. I'm your host, Tracy Wolfman. And until next time, have a great week.